Hi, friends, and welcome to episode 6 of Care Team Chronicles. My name is Sasha, and I will be your host today. Today's episode is dedicated to all of the mothers out there. We hope that you had a great Mother's Day, and we know that one day simply is not enough to celebrate all that you do. Many moms are overworked and exhausted, which makes it very difficult to schedule time for self-care, especially now with this global crisis going on. So today we want to focus on the importance of putting yourself first and how to find the perfect self-care practice for you. Today we are so fortunate to have a guest joining us from the tri-state area. On social media, she is known as the Yogi in the Attic, bringing us guided meditations, yoga practices, and tips for overall well-being. We are so happy to have her share these with us and our community today. Please welcome our friend Bridgid.
Hi.
Hi, Bridgid. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are so lucky and so happy to have you here to share all of your knowledge with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Great. So our organization's why is because the quality of life matters. To speak to that why, our show today is focused on mothers, the superheroes known best for putting everyone's needs before their own. So we aim to speak to them as well as our whole community, but to them specifically on the importance of self-care and how they might refocus and re-energize through mindful practice. Could you speak to us on how you found yoga and meditation and what it might have done for you?
Yeah, so I found yoga during my dancing career, and I used it as physical therapy to help with that. And as I did it, I got more and more interested in the postures, and I became really good at yoga. And so I signed up for a teacher training, and was always challenging myself to do harder and harder and harder asana. Asana is the name of the postures in yoga. And what I found was that the ultimate goal of yoga is to be able to sit in meditation. So it's interesting that yoga, when you get good at something, you think it becomes bigger and broader and wider. But actually in yoga, the better you get at it, the more and more subtle your practice becomes, the quieter it becomes. So through that, I began a meditation practice, and it helped me manage a lot of my anxiety. It helped me manage a lot of my stress. But I would say the most beneficial aspect of it that I've experienced is the self-awareness aspect. Has been monumental for me. So that's why I keep doing it.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And so, it makes it so nice to hear that the broader it becomes, the more subtle it becomes. It just kind of becomes part of your life, and that brings about self-awareness. So that's really great. So thank you for sharing that with us. So a lot of people haven't tried it. For someone just starting out who might think, they don't have the time or it's not for me, is there a simple way for them to get started? I actually recently heard Tracy Ellis Ross describe in an interview that even eating soup can be meditative in the way that you have to sit with yourself while you eat it. So can it really be as simple as just starting with that?
Yeah, so meditation is all about embracing the present moment and embracing the moment that you are in, because you can't live in the future, you can't live in the past. All of those things are in our head. So there's only the present moment. And when she speaks about having soup, for example, that engages a lot of our senses. So if you're really living presently and you're eating soup, you can taste the soup on your tongue. You can feel the heat of the soup. You can feel the spoon in your hand. You can feel your feet on the floor. You can see the colors in your kitchen. You can hear the birds outside. So that is very much what meditation is about. It's about being present. And that is having soup is actually a really great beginner's way of getting into a meditation practice, because it does engage so many senses.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So that's good because I eat soup. So that tells me that maybe sometimes I meditate more than I think I am. That's great. So to speak to that, what about techniques? I know that you've recently shared different positions that you can be in while meditating. So can you expand on that a bit for us?
Yeah, the most important position for meditation is a comfortable position. So a lot of times you'll see people meditating and they'll be sitting on the floor. And sitting on the floor is actually a lot more difficult than it looks. um, you need to have flexibility and spinal strength and abdominal strength. And that's where like yoga comes in, building all those parts of your body so that you can sit for a long time. But you want to just have the least distracting position. So you can meditate sitting in a chair. You can meditate lying on your back. The one thing is that if you're meditating lying on your back, you might fall asleep, in which case it might be just a good idea to take a nap. But those are a lot of different ways. You can meditate standing. One of my first experiences with a meditation retreat, we did 20 minutes seated meditation and then 20-minute walking meditation. And the walking meditation was awesome. Being a former dancer, I really got down with being able to feel my feet on the floor and each step I took. And again, that's just activating another sense, the sense of feeling in your body to help you stay present in the moment. So yeah, you can do meditation sitting on the floor, sitting in the chair, lying on your back, standing, walking in a circle. It's very accessible.
So yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's accessible. It's for everybody. So thank you. That's great. So Bridgid, you were one of the first people many, many years ago who taught me the importance of breath. And then you recently said in a post, if you have control of your breathing, you have control of your reactions. I have to say that your techniques have gotten me through rough plane turbulence, overwhelming tasks, everyday stresses, a lot throughout the year. So, can you speak to our community about the breathing part of meditation or just your breath, the importance of it, and then as well as possible breathing exercises?
Yes. So your breath is has a direct effect on your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. And like it calms that down. So the more oxygen you have in your body, the better you're going to feel and the better you will be able to handle stressors in your life and that fight or flight response. Um, it's it's important that when you're breathing that you take at least 8 deep breaths in order to feel the effects of your breath. So you can do it with one deep breath, but it is accumulative. So I do recommend like practicing as much as you can, just being aware of your breath because your breath is both voluntary and involuntary. So, we're driving around and we're stressed out, we're still breathing, but our breath is very shallow. And so there isn't a lot of oxygen coming in, and therefore there's not a lot of carbon dioxide going out, which is poisonous to us, and it needs to go. So taking deeper breaths, taking longer exhalations is just going to make you feel better. Do try to take at least 8 of them. But like I said, if you do develop a practice and where you are aware of your breath, you will have more control over it. And then 1 or 2 deep breaths will be helpful as well.
That's great. That's great that you can build on it too. You can start with the starting point and then build as you go. So then to go off of that, is there something that our moms can do possibly several times a day? Maybe if it's not just breathing, but something else to potentially recenter, refocus, and bring about a sense of calm?
Yeah. So I think looking at where your feet are, really important, and spreading your feet on the floor. So I think grounding through the bottoms of your feet is so important. Another reason why I really like walking meditations, doing that. Uh, Feeling the breath with the skin on the inside of your nostrils, also really important. You can try doing that right now. And if you're feeling your breath with the skin inside your nose, you are going to automatically slow down your inhale and you're just going to slow down your reactions right away. Um, to take that a step further, to incorporate your feet, you can feel the breath with the skin on the inside of your nostrils and then follow your breath all the way down to your feet and then feel your feet expand in your sneaker, expand in your high heel, expand, if you're in your bare feet, you can just feel them expand on the floor, which is going to ground you, and then follow your breath up through your body and out your nose. But I think what's really the most important is to think about the skin inside your nostril and then feel your breath with that skin. It's going to slow down your reaction, follow it to your feet, feel your feet ground into the floor, and then follow the breath out. And that's a deep breath. That's going to affect you if you're feeling stressed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I don't know if anyone could tell. I was just actually trying to do that for myself right now. It's a great technique. And I never thought about that as like the inside of your nostril. When you go take a yoga class, people talk about different points of your body, but it's not so much the inside that you hear. So that's a refreshing perspective.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. So Bridgid, on the days where you don't feel like you have the time or the energy or the motivation to practice, I know a lot of us go through this. So what is it that you tell yourself?
No one's going to want to hear this, but days that are busy are the days that you need your practice more than any of the other days. It's a red flag. It means that you need to practice. So on the busy days, that's the day that you need your mindfulness practice the most. What I can recommend is cut your mindfulness practice down, right? So if I have a very busy day, I normally do 30 minutes of yoga and then I do 10-minute meditation. And sometimes like that's just not going to happen. So instead, I will take 10 deep breaths and I will be okay with that. I think that's also a really important thing. It's that if you do have a longer practice, but you can't do all of it today, being okay with saying, all right, I can't do my 30 minutes of yoga, but I can take 10 deep breaths and be fully present with those 10 deep breaths and then be done with it and move on to all that busy stuff I have to do. But it's just as important as doing the practice is carving out the time to make the practice happen. So that's just as important as actually doing it, which is why you have to do it every single day. Carve out the time, especially on the days when you're busy, because that's the red flag that you really need to practice. Not on the days, like on the days when you don't have a lot going on, yeah, you should definitely still practice because it's cumulative, right? But on the days where you got to pick up the kids from school, you got to go, your in-laws are coming and you have a job, you got to go to work and you have to do a PowerPoint presentation, you need to really dig into your practice and do it that day, even if it's shorter.
Mm-hmm. That's really great because, it gives us something tangible to start with, on those busy days, because those breaths can happen anywhere, in the car, in the shower. It's just something that you can just do for yourself and something simple enough. That's great to get us started.
I would also say another way I started my meditation was I set a timer for 1 minute. And I set the timer on my phone for 1 minute. And I said, for this 1 minute, you're just going to breathe. And that was really helpful in me developing a bigger practice. So that's something else.
That's awesome. That's a really great starting point, because just 1 minute, I know a lot of us can at least spare just 1 minute. Yeah. So now to speak to yoga specifically for a moment. Again, many years ago, I had mentioned to you that I wanted to practice yoga for exercise, but then I also sort of mentioned that I have anxiety. And you created a yoga plan for me geared towards my anxiety, not so much the exercise portion. And it took you from the outside looking in on me and helping me, leading me in the right direction, forcing me to look at myself and what I needed. Not a lot of people have that. There are so many variations of yoga out there, and it can be really intimidating for some. So is there some way for an individual to figure out what kind of yoga is right for them, or what they could benefit the most from?
You kind of went out a bit there, but I think, sorry, you were like going, I think the question was about how to pick the right yoga.
Yeah, because there's so many out there, it can be intimidating. So how can an individual find a yoga that's right for them?
Awesome. I get this question a lot from a lot of people, and you cannot choose the wrong yoga. Just pick one, anyone. It's all good. It's all good for you. So don't put that pressure on yourself that like, before I start my yoga practice, I need to make sure I'm doing the exact right yoga practice that's perfect for me, because it's all moving, it's all breathing, it's all strengthening, it's all stretching, it's all good. So if right now, if you can't go to a yoga studio, go online, go to YouTube and just search yoga and pick one. Anyone. Do it for 3 days, do it for a week. If you don't like it, get rid of it and go to the next one, do the next one. But don't put that pressure on yourself. We already have so much that we're worried about. You literally cannot choose the wrong kind of yoga. You can maybe choose one that, this one doesn't really work for me, but there's so many different kinds that you can just go on to the next one and try another one. So don't let that stop you.
That's good. Yes, thank you. Yeah, don't put that pressure on yourself. Really great words. So if we all wanted to start, if there's one pose that we could all of us viewing, myself included, if we could all commit to trying one pose for ourselves today, what would you recommend that we try?
Warrior 2. Number 1, because it looks really good on Instagram. So you can all do it and then have someone take a picture of you and you can post it. And for many, many other reasons, it's really great to help you with your balance with both feet still on the floor, which is good for your core. And then beyond that, it's great for strengthening your quads. It's great for stretching your hips. With your arms out to the side, it does this really beautiful stretch across your chest while strengthening your arms. And then while you're holding this asana, you can also start to stretch your spine by bending side to side. So it's just like multitasking to like the greatest degree. And it's also looks really good. Everyone looks
Great. I know that I'm going to do that for myself today, and I hope everybody else will join me in trying out our Warrior Twos. Even if you've never tried it before, I think that's a great place to start. So
definitely.
lastly, Bridgid, if our community wanted to seek out some of your other meditation and yoga techniques, where might they find those?
You can find me on Instagram at the Yogi in the Attic. You can also find me on YouTube at the Yogi in the Attic, and feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, theyogiintheattic@gmail.com. I am happy to share any tips. I am happy if you want to tell me what you're struggling with. I'm definitely happy to give you some perspective on how to break through that struggle. I'm 100% here to support you. The effects of yoga and meditation have been so powerful in my life that I am really happy to share any experience that I have that can help you. So be my friend.
Well, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough for joining us today. We are so fortunate, as I said in the beginning, to have you share all of this knowledge that you've accumulated over the years with us, with our community. I know that we're all in need of some wellness tips. So this has been very, very helpful. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Bye, Bridgid.
Bye.
All right, friends. Well, for our moms out there, if you are looking for more ways to bring about calm and wellness through cannabinoid therapy, our care specialists are here to help answer those questions. From CBD bath bombs to daily dosing, we are here to help. As well, if you are looking for ideas of wellness in the kitchen, we have some things that you can add to your grocery list and a recipe for you to try. We are linking the recipe for our homemade peanut butter chocolate hemp bars. Try this healthy treat, you won't regret it. And do not forget to check out our other events going on throughout the week. You can sign up to join our Caregiver Connect on Tuesdays, our Community Connect on Wednesdays, and then you can join us for trivia here on Facebook Live on Thursdays at 5:30 Mountain Time. We are here for you, friends. Be well, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.